Hello, my name is Teacher Nicole, and I'm going to be helping you with your summer evaluation. So I just wanted to make a video just giving you some very quick tips and explaining the evaluation sheet. The first thing that we are looking at is a demo sheet of 100 points. So the first section that we have is only going to be 10 points, and it's basically your teaching environment. This is pretty self-explanatory. There are 5 things that we're looking at. The first one is lighting. We need to have good lighting where we can see the teacher clearly. The colors need to be neat, and it needs to be quite bright, well lit, so that you're not dark and in a shrouded thing. Your background, you don't have to have the VIPX background like this. Any sort of poster, as long as it is sort of an attractive background, you can put anything behind you and just make a note that you have ordered your background and it will be arriving soon. And then we can take note that you will get it at some point. The next one is your t-shirt. Same story. If your t-shirt hasn't arrived, that's fine for now. Just make sure that you're wearing something presentable, something that looks professional. Obviously no like string tops or with a very thin strap. You have to look like a professional teacher if you don't have your purple t-shirt as yet. The next one obviously is noise. No loud background noises. Choose somewhere quiet that you can teach from, and make sure that the camera is clear and focused, nothing blurry. You might want to get an HD camera if you haven't got an HD camera built into your laptop, but as long as it is clear and the student can see you and you look presentable, that's a very quick 10 points that you can get. The next section, which is going to be 20 points, is basically energy and your general attitude. So for this, it's quite easy to get rapport building questions and interaction. So how did you develop a relationship with the student? A quick, easy way, just normal manners. So, hi, my name is teacher whoever. What is your name? It is nice to meet you. How are you? Are you good today? Excellent. Ask questions. What sports do you like? What are some of your hobbies? Ask the students questions that we can sort of develop their confidence and develop their trust. So anything that you can ask about the topic as well, it really helps to build rapport with them. What do you think about that? It helps to develop the students' confidence and they feel comfortable. And then later on with actual language production, they're more confident and they can produce longer sentences. So we do check things like that. Did the teacher act in a way that was culturally appropriate? So just make sure that no offensive topics are covered. The school is pretty strict. Religion, politics, any personal beliefs that you have, just, keep them outside of the classroom. And just, obviously, I'm sure I don't even have to say it, but no swearing, no obscene gestures, no, derogatory comments, anything like that. And then, in terms of rapport building, just how you actually interacted with the student. The next one is energy and enthusiasm. We are always looking for fun teachers. So if you are having fun in the classroom, then your student is guaranteed to have fun too. So just kind of make it enthusiastic. Be very excited about everything. So in terms of how did you give praise, if you're going to go, good job, good job, good job, the student's not going to be excited. It's not very rewarding, and I feel like I don't really want to try. Whereas if we can use different words, if we can bring in different things, we can give them high fives. Oh, that was terrific. Oh my goodness, you're amazing. Wow. Just make it really exciting so that the students want to work. They want to do well because there's a reward. It can be as simple as, if you do really well here, we're going to play a fun game. Or it can be, like we've got the rewards with the actual stars and the diamonds in the class. We can use other things, like you can collect bananas, or you can collect stars, or you can build an ice cream. I've got one here that I use on my actual camera, but you can do whatever you want. So there's the cone, and then we build an ice cream as we go. As they do well, they get more and more. And the kids really seem to respond to things like this because it's visual, they can see they're doing well, and it just makes it more rewarding for them. So make sure that when you give praise, you're enthusiastic about it, and make sure that you're making it a fun classroom. Okay, then general smiling. So when you are teaching, make sure that you don't put on a cheesy smile. Try and be sincere. Try and look like you are having fun, that you're friendly, that you're warm, that the kids can trust you. And the last one is a fun environment. So we've already covered some of the ways with rewards, but just make sure that you're engaging the student. Try and engage them for the entire lesson. Especially at this age, they do tend to wander off a little bit. So what strategies did you use to keep them engaged? How did you make them focus on you? What did you do to engage them for the entire length of the lesson? So what strategies? And the one thing here I'd like to mention is just about the tools that we have. Future Cloud is amazing. We have a lot of ways to engage a student in terms of getting them to circle things, drawing, anything like that, to try and integrate it into the lesson and use the software. I mean, that's what it's there for. So definitely make a fun classroom by doing that. Okay, then we go on to actual teaching. So this is obviously the majority of our 70 marks. So the one thing that I would like to just mention here, this form is generic. It's going to be used for all teachers for all grades. So most of you are grades 7 and 8, which is obviously an older student. So whatever we do, just make sure it's level appropriate. So with the younger students, you would have to have more TPR. You would have to, what can you see in the picture? Can you see an elephant? With an older student, we don't need to go and play charades on every single word, but make sure that you do have some TPR. Just make sure it's appropriate TPR. We don't have to give them a high five every single second, because then you're also going to do badly in that section. But things like you can give fist bumps or, anything like that. Make sure that there is some kind of TPR used, and make sure that we are integrating it with the student. So make the student do it with you. So with the high five, my G7 still love doing high fives, and make sure they do it with you so that they are involved in the process. It also helps to help them from, getting distracted and wandering off. Keep them focused on you. And TPR is a very good way to be like, hello, look at me, I'm here. Okay, then the next one, effective use of resources. So this one is also quite an easy one to do. In Future Cloud, you can load pictures, you can load videos, you can do a lot of extra things. So with that, I definitely would look at videos, but make sure that you keep them under 3 minutes. Videos are a great way to engage a student and to teach them extra information, but they shouldn't be like a cop-out for teaching. They have to be under 3 minutes and they have to be relevant. Other pictures where they can integrate and draw, as long as it's topic related. But you can also bring in other activities. You can bring in games, word searches, crosswords, what's wrong with the picture, spot the difference. There's all sorts of things we can use here. So make sure that we're using that, and that we're using the software, as I've said before. Make sure that we're actually using FC, whether it's the whiteboard for drawing or a physical whiteboard that you've got, or you can draw on your, I know like I can draw on my camera. Just make sure that whatever we're doing, it's in aid of the lesson. It's not just something random. And then the next one is going to be, you can also do like flashcards, toys. Obviously this kind of thing is great for like little kids, but you're not going to show like your stuffed toy animal to a G7 unless it's really pertinent. But things like a world map, I do use this quite a lot, and then we can zoom in and we can look at all the countries. You can also just show them a picture where you show them the world map and then you zoom into that, and you can show them the map in the actual classroom. So make sure that extra resources are there. This also helps you to look prepared, because it looks like you have looked at the slides already and you know exactly what the topic is. Okay, then speaking speed. So this one to me goes hand in hand with appropriate level of language. So did the teacher speak at an appropriate speed? If you're having a conversation with someone who's been speaking English for a long time, we tend to talk a lot faster, we tend to slur a little bit more, we use slang. So make sure when you're engaging with the student, if it starts a level, you must speak slower and enunciate so that we are able to get clear instructions across to them. They understand the words and they're able to repeat it correctly. A more advanced student, you can obviously bring in a little bit higher level language. So you could use a word like advantage, whereas with the beginner level student, especially at the younger level, you gauge where your student is at, but we would say things like, why is this good for us? Why do we eat fruit? Why are fruits good for us? Whereas an advanced student, we could say, what are the advantages of eating fruit? So just make sure that the speed ties in with the level and the words that you're choosing. Try to use words that are appropriate, because otherwise you'll end up spending about 10 minutes explaining what advantages when it's not even the point of the lesson. So that definitely goes hand in hand. And then clear and effective instructions. Make sure that the instructions are simple. Keep it as easy to understand as possible. Don't use too many words when explaining. So when we want to choose the right answer, is it A? Is it B? We don't have to explain around it. We don't have to go into too much detail. Make sure that it was at the student's level. and don't give too much talk time. Okay, effective correction and mispronunciation and grammatical errors. This one is always a bit tricky because there's definitely, there is something as giving too much correction and there's too little correction. So you need to kind of learn your level. But we need to tell the students when they've mispronounced something. I tend to not interrupt them. I tend to let them read and make the mistakes, and then I underline the words that they've said wrong, and then we go back and we pronounce it again. This is how you say it for me, this is how, okay, yes, excellent, that's perfect. So that we don't interrupt their fluency when they're reading, but they do need to be corrected. The parents are looking for that. So with grammatical errors, I tend to type it on the screen, and then I kind of, replace, say this, highlight it, circle it, and you can also give verbal feedback. So instead of saying that, we should say this. Parents are looking for that, so definitely include it, but it's the way that we correct the students. We try not to say no, and we try not to say you are wrong. So just make sure that when you're giving corrections, it's encouraging, that they want to try harder. Also break your corrections into manageable chunks. So if you're talking about a word like electricity, you don't say electricity. Can you say electricity? Electricity. No, we would break it into electricity. Yes, break it into chunks that they are able to understand. With the more advanced students, you can obviously go faster and you can break it up for them, or the basic ones you have to kind of sound it out slowly. Obviously, again, level appropriate, but make sure that you're warm and very encouraging. Okay, then the way that the lessons are designed is in terms of scaffolding, which means that we're kind of starting with the basic and we're building to get to like a showtime or a mock test. So when we have that, just make sure that we are eliciting language production throughout the lesson. Wherever you can, try and ask open-ended questions, try and get them to speak a full sentence, so elicit language. So where we have, what is your favorite food? Pizza. Oh, that's great. I love pizza too. Can you say, my favorite food is pizza? Excellent. By the time they get to showtime, they've already practiced that sentence and they're used to replying in full sentences because that's the best way for them to learn. So just make sure that we are trying to get them to elicit as much language as possible and ask topic or culture related questions. Whatever you can about wherever you are, get opinions, make sure you're getting them to speak as much as you can. We aim for about 70% student talk time. So bear that in mind when you're going through it. And then when they are not understanding, when they have difficulty grasping a content point, something in the content doesn't make sense to them, and you can see by asking all these questions the whole way through, as comprehension check questions, you can see very easily if they understand or don't understand. By asking rapport building, we can see if the shy students, if they're not responding because they're shy or because they don't understand. So just make sure when the content is not grasped and then you can see that they really don't get what you're saying, try and explain it in a different way. Do not use Chinese in the classroom because sometimes we're not getting the correct words from like Google Translate. Sometimes if we're saying it, we're not pronouncing it correctly and it can mean something else. So the clearest way is to give them other synonyms, draw a picture, get a prop, act it out, use your hands, TPR, whatever you can, but just try and explain it in a different way so that they are able to understand what you're talking about. And the last one is going to be teaching fluency. So familiarity with the content, and I've mentioned that already. So it shows that you're prepared. We want to see that you have actually looked at the lesson and you know what you're talking about. Okay, perfect. So that is how you get 100 points. Basically broken it down column by column. But if there's anything else that you need, any other questions that you have, feel free to send me a PM, send me a chat on the group. I'm here to help you. So anything that you need would be great. Thank you so much. Good luck. See you soon. Bye-bye.